people that are living here, waking up, getting ready, and I've seen the kids going off to school. So many of them walking down, the little ones getting ready to go into the play schools, and the mothers getting ready to work here. So there's a whole hive of activity that happens here in Nkosi's Haven. But let's just cast our mind back to a couple of years ago when we were introduced to our beautiful young Nkosi Johnson. Now this haven was established back in 1999. As a shelter for destitute people that were living with HIV and AIDS. And Gail Johnson was Nkosi's adoptive mother, and they worked together very much so on this. The shelter houses more than 100 children, and basically Gail still continues to fight the cause, and she joins us now, and we're so happy to finally have you on the program. It's so nice to be here. Thank you for allowing us to quietly stand in the corner and watch what happens here on a day-to-day business.
No, thank you. I wasn't here at 3:30 when the trucks arrived. I got here normally at the normal time. But thank you very much for coming. Yeah. Great.
It's important. I mean, when we go back to that day when Nkosi stood up in front of all these people and spoke to these adults and said to them, please, my name is Nkosi Johnson. I have HIV and AIDS and more needs to be done. I mean, that must have been a moment in your life you will never forget.
It was mind-blowing. I think possibly the proudest moment I've ever had in my life. I needed a couple of Valium. More than a couple. But of course he was phenomenal, and he was just so brave, and he was always brave, but to have stood up there and just begged for help, that was him.
And I mean, you look at those days, and they were dark days for South Africa. I mean, it was almost ridiculous to think about how we were treating people with HIV and AIDS and giving them beetroot and all of those things. And it just didn't make any sense. Now it makes sense. What do you think?
Look, there were traffic jams in cemeteries. It was disgusting, and the amount of people we lost, I think, was horrendous. And I think it's sacrilege that they were allowed to die the way they did. But now that we've got the ARV rollout, and which is just superb, and to me the most successful campaign is the prevention of mother-to-child transmission. They dropped down to 2.5. Babies were being born to die. They're not anymore, and that is beautiful. And if you look at my moms, everyone's healthy. Their boobs are developing. Some want their boobs developed, others don't. But it's just there's health and there's life. And yes, it's brilliant. I think it's stunning.
Strange question. Do you think if Nkosi was living in this day and age, he'd still be living?
Well, if he was on ARVs the year he died. When he gave his speech at the World AIDS Conference, he was on ARVs. But he went on them when his CD4 count was 2. So that's like going to the Gulf War with a 9mm semi-automatic. It wasn't going to work. He took himself off them. We chatted a lot about that. But it wasn't making a huge difference. I don't know. Maybe if the ARV rollout had started sooner, maybe if government had committed a hell of a lot sooner, yes, he might be alive today.
Certainly. And most importantly is the mother-to-child transmission rate, because that was his story. And the story is not like that anymore. It can be stopped. And that's what's so encouraging. That's what's so incredible for the children, because it's not the child's fault. It really isn't.
No, and we've noticed that with our teens. The teens that have been infected from birth and compliance with antiretrovirals and things like that, they are angry young people, very angry young people, because they are infected through absolutely no action of their own. And to deal with that psychologically and emotionally is quite a heavy thing to deal with. We do counsel them, and out, around us and in the organizations that we deal with, they're having hassles with these kids. There's defiance, there's anger. But, we often just ask them to turn that round and look at what they have. Yeah. They have life. It is a right to have the correct medication, and it is a right to have life-sustaining medication, but it's a privileged right, and they've got to honor that commitment that government is committing to their lives. And that's where I get a little bit angry, because I've lost my son, and as have millions of other people in this country. Grab what you can, take your meds and live.
Yeah, that's it. Let's talk about where we are now in Nkosi's Haven. So how many kids have we got? We got 100 and... How many?
114 kids.
114 children, and hey, I can. But either your dye works well, or
no, it does. It comes straight out of a box.
That's good. It works well. And mothers, you got 12 mothers.
No, we got 12 resident caregivers and 22 moms.
22 moms.
Yeah.
So how it works here is, you were telling me the mothers are HIV positive, but the kids are not necessarily HIV positive.
No, look, our target is the destitute infected mom and her kids. Right. So a mom might come with 4 infected children or no infected children, depending what her status was when she was pregnant, her viral load and things like that. So, and we have little orphans, infected orphans placed with us or with a resident mom, and most of these kiddies have defaulted. So we've got 34 infected children here at the moment, and they're all doing brilliantly well. They queue up in the morning. It's quite cute. They stand behind each other and they get their meds, and it's not an issue for them. Don't know what it's going to be like in 10 years' time. Nkosi got very irritated with and angry and sick and tired of taking meds. And he was only on ARVs for 3 months. But for the entire time he had been with me, he'd been on Bactrim and vitamin and things like that. So I don't know what our 6, 7, 8-year-olds are going to be like in 10 years' time. And that's a thing we're going to have to address. But yeah, look, life is normal, very normal here. We've got kids at school, we've got kids at college, we've got kids in mainstream, we've got kids in very special needs school, we've got kids in remedial. So far, I've only had 1 failure this year. So he only got 1 sucker. The other kids all got 2 suckers for passing. But yeah, no, we love it. Well, it's life.
Yeah, it is life, and it is. It's normal life. You can see it. Life just goes on. So you've got. I saw there's a little bakery over there. It's like it's almost in a container bakery where you've got the caregivers working in there as well. Or is that the moms?
The moms. We employ our moms internally. So if a mom shows initiative and a talent, she will be put in the kitchen, for example. Yeah. So we have 4 moms running the kitchen. We've got 2 moms running the bakery. We've got a teenager running the laundry. And they each earn a stipend and things like that. The caregivers come from outside. They're halfway through childcare courses. And then my sick bay staff of all mums who are either not mums, staff who are trained as to the level of staff nurse or home-based care. Because we don't need sick bay that much anymore, you can imagine. But we've got a 21-year-old who's on oxygen therapy all the time, so she needs to be in there. We've got 1 young girl who's not well at all at the moment. We're worried about her. Another mom has gone to the audiology department, and she's having her cochlear implant switched on today. So she will hear for the first time in ages.
Wow.
Because she had meningitis, lost her hearing. So we just carry on. It's life. It's what we do.
And the thing is, there's so much support available. But one thing that's really interesting, which we need to talk about, is the Nkosi for Life farm. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Nkosi's Haven for Life farm.
Okay, so it's Nkosi's Haven for Life farm. So this is a farm that you're working on and going to be almost like a kibbutz. Tell me about this.
It's about 12 acres. It's about 45 kilometers straight down the R82, which is very convenient. And we're setting it up on the kibbutz style of living. So we want infected moms who want to work on a farm to come and live. And once we're in a profit situation, they will become shareholders. So we've got 3 hothouses that were donated by the Qantas cabin crew team. We've had a private funder. He's covered the cost of additional security, the irrigation. And so, so I need a whole lot of people who are going to harvest, I love the word, shortly. So my team need to be punished, will go down and harvest, but they will earn some money.
So when are you hoping that'll be off the ground happening?
Look, from a vegetable growing, a cultivation point of view, we are there. But now I need the accommodation, and I'm going to need additional electricity, so I need a transformer, and we need sewerage. So, I need about another 450,000 rand to put the accommodation, the additional electricity, and the sewerage in.
Okay. And then once it's a fully operational farm and, you've got all of that intact, what happens then? Is it for the community? Is it for everybody that stays here, there? It's just self-funded, or you sell the vegetables? How does it work?
No, we want to market. So surplus will come to us, and surplus will go to township-based organizations that we deal with. But no, we need to sell. So we need to generate income. The farm will never carry the village. My running costs between the organizations and our education, 500,000 a month. Yeah. But we also want chickens, of course, and I've got to get that money too. So I need about 700,000, and we're going to produce broilers. So that we'll sell on the open market. We've got a consultant at the moment who's working towards organic farming. We wanted to appoint some of the township-based organizations as distributors. They set up a spaza shop. We provide them, they sell. But organic will be too expensive for township. So we need to balance that out a bit. I need to look at that because, the non-profit organization world has had and is having a terrible time. Yeah. And if they can generate... Oh, don't you love my peacock? Look at him.
I wanted to ask you, there's so many of them. We've been having conversations all morning.
No, sorry about this.
Don't worry.
It's called the mating season, apparently, about the only thing that is here, I hope. And look, there he is. He's going to turn around. They just fly over because they like our bread.
Oh, you're kidding me? And they just stay. So they're not yours. They just fly in and they come and live here.
And we've got 4 little babies.
Yeah? That's the first thing I was welcomed by were the mother and her babies right at the entrance as I walked in. They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. But Gail, before we wrap up and go and meet more of the peacocks, in terms of donations, because that's really how you work. This is it's donations from the public. It's people that keep you going. What do we do? How do we help you?
There is a bank account on the website, but otherwise they can just go to the website, get my phone number, and we can work from there. We've got a PBO number, so people get Section 18A receipts, which is tax, for tax benefits. We're just re-registering as a BEE situation. We're trying to get our farm registered under the economic development banner. There are a hell of a lot of banners now, and which is quite a lot to do. But farm economic development, the preschool needs to be finished, and the running costs here. So my number's on the website.
And that's nkosishaven.co.za?
No, nkosishaven.org.
Okay, so it's .org. Yeah. All right, so it's www.nkosishaven.org. Visit the website. You'll find everything there, and it's very mobile friendly. I know I visited it, and it's very, very mobile friendly. Thank you, Gail. Keep up this amazing work, and let's go and catch up with your peacocks now. All right, let's go back to the Joburg studio. It's a pleasure. Let's get you your news headlines.